Okay, so like all my projects that start in the shop, we start with the milling process. So we're taking some of this white oak here and some of this red oak, and we're going to cut it to the rough length of the flag, or to call it the width, I believe. And this will be the hoist. So this is going to, we're going to cut this oak up to the rough length on the miter saw, and then we're going to take it over, mill it up a little bit on the planer and jointer, then we'll take it to the table saw and cut the strips. And to get the calculations for this smaller flag, there's multiple types of flags you can make. You kind of go by your dimensions of your union and or the total flag. And there's a couple websites you could use. Here's a good one here that I like to use. I like to use this website. And you just put the numbers in you want, and it kind of tells you the dimensions of everything. There's various ways you can make these flags. There's different dimensions, different sizes, and depending on the wood type. So if I'm using like poplar or pine, I will use red and blue stain and burn it with a little torch. If I'm using hardwoods, whether it be cherry maple mix or these red and white oaks, I'll just try to keep as much hardwood as possible with no stain. Sometimes I'll stain the union blue, and you can also you could cut these up by doing a union separate and having a three-way glue up. I like to do it all one time, just do all 17 stripes, and then just carve out the union separately. But you could do it multiple different ways. There's different ways. There's a lot of videos on these how to do these a lot better than I do, but this is how I do the hardwood ones. Okay, so the differences are pretty subtle. Sometimes red and white almost look the same, but you can see like the red has a little bit more like a pinkish hue to it. And when you put some mineral oil on it, it really darkens up, almost like a almost, it's hard to describe, almost like an orange red. And the white oak gets a reddish look too when you put the mineral oil on. I'm going to try to leave these plain so it can stay as white as possible. We'll do the union here still. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay. I might keep it all natural. Just do the stars naturally. Carve them out, and then we'll just glue these up as is. And we'll just put the mineral oil on the red stripes. We'll darken them up. We'll do it individually. All right. This one could go with the 50 stars, or I can go with the 76. Yeah, I think that would look good. Yeah, I think that would look really good. So here, you can see I'm just going to laminate these 17 stripes now. to make one small flag. And this flag will be more like a picture frame. We're going to put a frame around it later, so it's just gives a little more of a fancy look to it. Since it's going to be no stain, it's going to just be like almost like a little picture. So we could accomplish this two different ways. We could use the table saw, or even the miter saw if you have a 10.5 inch or 13 inch blade. But for me, I just use the track saw. I have it out, so I'm just going to do both sides with the track saw. It just makes nice, quick, easy work of this. And I think it's a little bit of a cleaner cut and maybe a little safer too. I don't have to put out a sled or anything. So here we have a little gap in the one end here. We're just going to put a little epoxy in there to fill that in. So we're just going to use some total the resin with the hardener. Just a little mix, a little bit up, and this worked out perfectly for this little crack here. Okay, so a lot of the rest of this project is going to be sanding down. This is going to be starting with 80 grit, and now we're going to cut a little frame. Like I said, we're going to use some red oak for that to give a nice little picture frame type look to it. It's going to look pretty cool, hopefully, when it's done. Obviously, you saw it in the intro, but whatever. This is what we're going to do. We're just going to cut some 45-degree angles with this. You could do this also on your table saw, or you could do a bevel cut on your miter saw. These are not my favorite cuts. These are, especially with thin stock wood, it is kind of dangerous. It does try to kick back a lot, or chip out. So you got to be careful. Take your time. Go real slow. And sometimes I won't even cut all the way through. I'll just use a regular hand saw to cut through if I need to. Or you could use there's tools they sell like Lowe's or Home Depot, like little cutting blocks are like $15. You can also use that. So now we're going to sand down up to 120 grit here before we start carving out the stars. So I don't have a robot, a CNC, so everything's going to be with a Dremel manual cut, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to set our bit. We're going to set a real fine bit right now, and we're going to keep the stencil on, and we're going to carve out everything. You can also use a pencil for this. To mark it out, but for us, we're just gonna, for me, I'm just gonna use a little fine bit Dremel, and we're gonna carve them outside out, and then we'll put a thicker stock in to kind of hog it all out, and then we'll put a little sanding bit in to smooth it out a little bit. These are smaller stars, so it's real hard to get them to look perfect, but we're gonna do our best here with these, and I think the Rustic book is kind of cool anyway. So this is all hand by hand. There's, like I said, there's no CNC or no robots we're using for this project. So here we're going to put the frame on here, and it's like I said, this is the red oak. It's a very thin stock. We have 45-degree angles. It's going to be like a picture frame, and we're just going to use some glue and some smaller 18 gauge brad nails to hold this in place. So it's more for just looks. It's not really a structural thing, but I think it's going to give this smaller flag a nice look of all oak here. Okay, so we're going to do one layer of sanding with the frame on, and then we're going to put some mineral oil on the red oak stripes here. We're going to use a little spacer that I cut out. It's at the same dimension of the stripes themselves, so that way I try to keep as much of the mineral oil as possible off the white oak. So it gives the red oak a little bit of like a red, almost cherry looking look. It looks really good with the mineral oil on it. It really brightens it up. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to put this on here, try to be careful as much as possible, and then at the end I'm going to put some Osmo on. So here we're just going to cut out some scrap pieces I have for the back. These are going to hold the picture hangers, and also they're going to be structural. I'm going to put a brad nail on each one that will go to the length of each stripe. So in other words, it's going to also hold the slats together in the back on each side. So that's what we're going to do here, and it's going to screw this in with the screws that come with the picture hanger after we do a self-center drill bit, just to get the just to start it, you know, even though there's self-tapping screws, but we're going to do that anyway, just so I don't have any tear out or rip anything out. So this flag is part of a bigger project of a craft fair I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to bring in all these different flags and cutting boards and coasters and noodle boards, etc. I'm going to bring them to a craft show and try to sell them. If I don't sell them, I usually end up giving these away as gifts to whether it be clients. Maybe I'll give some of this away to some of my subscribers here. So hopefully you'll like this video and it helps you go out and build this kind of things. They're pretty cool to make. It's all handmade. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or concerns or questions, let me know in the comments, and I always reply back. Thanks for watching. Go out, build something.